Hello YouTube, Own Soldier 86 here, and now we're going to talk a little bit about level layout and how making these little pieces here can contribute to the full layout of the level. And to do that, what we need to do is we need to look at it in context of what a standard or traditional Super Smash Bros. Level might look like. And some of this I have done off camera, and please understand that I will share this, how to get this to work later for you. But for now, we're going to focus solely on the Congo jungle level. And what I had already done is I had prepared a mesh of that particular level so that we could see what it looked like in Google SketchUp, and we can compare that with the items that we've already created. So using that OBJ importer, this is why we use this tool, by the way. We're going to import this OBJ as a mesh. And what I had already done is I had taken all of the levels from Super Smash Bros. And I had already compiled them into an OBJ format so that we can take a look to see what the level will look like in Google SketchUp and compare it with the items that we've already created. So this is called level indices.obj. Open. And OBJ importer will be nice and will ask you, how do you want the units to be calculated? And what we want to do is find meters, because we've been using meters for our other objects. So we're going to say, okay. And then it asks if you want to flip OBJ YZ axis. And if you look at the level right now, it looks really funky. If you can remember the level from Super Smash Bros., it looks nothing like this. So I believe we are going to need to flip. So we'll say yes. There we go. Now, I did import this as a mesh, which means that all we're getting to see right now is just a bunch of white squares and boxes and cubes and things like that. But if you can imagine the level, think back to what the level looks like in the actual game, you can start getting a mental picture of what this is supposed to look like. And for instance, looking at this background here, you're wondering, what in the world are these giant squares in the back? Well, this is actually the trees. If you look at the level in the actual game, there is a layer of trees in the background. And it's kind of just, like I said, one of those 2D objects that we talked about that can add a little extra flair to your level. Not necessary, but we have, more importantly, the level layout itself. And if you can see, we had designed to make sure our platforms and things were roughly about 800 meters. And if you can imagine the play area here, we can see on the level, DK's Congo level, that the play area where the players are going to move around is in this kind of pathway right here in the middle. And if we measure that, it should be roughly about 800 meters. You can follow along with me in the bottom right-hand corner. There's going to be a length indication. We're going to measure that out quickly. 780 meters. That's close enough. 800 is a great round number to remember. So that is why we have chosen 800 meters to be our average floor length, okay? Our dimensions. And then anything else we have in our level here, just like backgrounds and trees and whatever, it can be any size you want them to be. Notice that these platforms, though, are slightly thinner. For instance, these platforms here, if we measure these out, are only about 400 meters. So if you wanted to make your platforms slightly smaller, you can do that, but you have to make sure that your textures account for that, okay? Now, thinking about the level layout itself, we have two important dimensions to keep track of. That is the distance width-wise and the distance height-wise. And we want it to keep within the same proportions of the original level, so that when we think about when your character falls off the edge or gets blasted to the side or gets blasted upward, that the blast parts will be consistent with what the original level is. We'll continue this conversation in the next video.